Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. If you're new, I am sitting in Audubon Park in New Orleans, and today's video is all about tips for traveling solo because I'm here on my own. If you want to find out my tips about traveling solo, staying safe, and having fun and making lots of memories, then keep watching. So tip number one, do your research before you leave for wherever you're going to, okay? This is both a safety tip and a tip to make sure you have a great time while you're on your trip. If you know ahead of time the list of places like attractions, the food that you want to eat, the places that you want to see, the events that you want to attend, if you know this ahead of time, you know where they're located, you know how much it costs, find out beforehand if you have to make a reservation, if you have to book things in advance, find out if it's the kind of thing that you can just walk up to the ticket counter or whatever and pay and you're good to go. Find out if it's closed, find out if it's open on the days when you're even there. Find out all these things ahead of time. Have the list on your phone and put important things like the intersection, the address. I put the address, I put the intersection, I put the telephone number. I put that stuff there. When you know ahead of time where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, and granted, there's some things that are just gonna happen, like even on this trip that I took today, there's a couple of things that I just passed by and I ended up stopping and doing them. I didn't have this plan prior to me leaving Toronto to come here. So the spontaneous things will happen and I say go with it. But to make your trip fun, if there's a particular city or country that you're going to, you should do research on the things that are popular or things that are like must-dos if you come to wherever. There's a slew of must-do things when you come to New Orleans. So I had a lot of things to choose from, but as I was going through that list, there were a few that really stood out to me because I love architecture, I love history, I love food. And I love to walk, I love to see all these things. So I knew walking tours, going to different districts, I knew trying different foods. I had all the different lists. And having them ahead of time just made it so less stressful when I got here because I knew which days I was here for and I already had made certain reservations for certain days. And when I got here, it was just so easy that I didn't have anything to stress about or worry about. A lot of stuff I already paid for beforehand. And because I did that, I was able to get really cool discounts and things. I feel like if you come to the city and then you're just kind of thrown into it and you got to figure everything out, you're wasting time. You're already here and now you're sitting in your hotel or maybe sitting somewhere and trying to figure out where you're going to go to next. Kind of have a plan. If you're like me and you don't like to cram too much all throughout your trip, make sure, like I was here for 7 days, I had something reserved, scheduled every other day. And then I had free days to kind of fill those in when I got here. But I still had my list of things that were really important to me to do and to see and to try. So do your research. The other reason why you should do your research beforehand, the safety side of it, is that I don't know how many times I travel and I see people walking around the street and they look so touristy, they look so lost. They have the tourist map, they have their like bag and their stuff, and they just don't look like they're from there. They're standing at a street corner and looking around like you make yourself a target. Now when you are with a group, it's not as bad, but when you're by yourself, you do not want to draw any unnecessary attention to yourself. So I'm going to tell you something that is a lifesaver, and it's on your phone. You do not need Wi-Fi for it, okay? Because I don't turn on my Wi-Fi when I'm out of Canada, unless it's an emergency. All you gotta do is, you see that same list that you already compiled before you left home? When you get to your hotel, you're going to go into Google Maps. Now, there may be a better app for this. And if there is, fine, no problem. If there isn't, then it is what it is. Google Maps just works well for me, and I find that because it's so universal, I don't have any issues with it, and I don't need Wi-Fi for it. So when you go to your hotel, if there's a few places that you want to check out that particular day, you get up in the morning or maybe the night before, you already know this. You're literally going to put into the search, right? You're going to put into the search, I don't know, I'm just going to pick random things. Say that we're going to go to the National, can you see that? The National Museum or whatever, right? Okay. So we plug that in and we press on the directions. Okay. So I can typically walk to places or whatever transit. Let's just say, for example, we're walking, but it doesn't matter whether you're walking or you're taking local transportation, Uber, whatever the case may be. I'm just gonna put this in so you can see. From where I currently am, see that? That is where I'm currently at right now. That blue. Now you notice how as I turn it, it's moving? That blue shade is showing you the direction that you're currently facing. And the blue dots show you the route, the possible route, and alternate routes, by the way, to get to the destination, which will be the red marker, and it will say the name and all that stuff. Now the cool thing is, if you have multiple places you want to go to, you're just going to see these 3 little dots. You're going to tap on the dot and it's going to say add a stop. You're going to add a stop, and now you can add anything. Let's just say we also wanted to go to this cafe juice bar. Okay, so we added that, and let's say after the cafe juice bar we want to go somewhere else. Cool. So here's what I'm showing you now. The blue mark is you. It shows you A as your first stop, B as your second stop, and C as your third stop, right? Now, here's the great thing about this. It tells you about how much time it'll take you to walk between these stops. Once you click on finished, okay? Once you click finished, you can leave your hotel, and even though you're not connected to internet, it will still show you what populated before. So it'll show you the directions. It'll still show you what direction you're in. So when you get outside, you can literally like, okay, good, I know where I'm going. You can take your 2 fingers and actually turn the map so you're facing in that direction. When I tell you that it's such a lifesaver, everybody looks at their phones. People are used to people looking at their phones, whether you're a tourist or not. So if you're walking down the street and you're looking at the directions on your phone and you're just making turns, no one, even if you look kind of touristy, no one's gonna like bother you or trouble you because you look like you know where you're going. When you look like you know where you're going, when you have confidence and you walk like you know the lay of the land, people don't bother you. I'm telling you, I've done this here in the States, I've done it in Canada, I've done it in South America, I've done it in the Caribbean. Like, the only place I haven't been to yet, and we're going, is Europe, but I feel like it's gonna be the same thing there too. So your phone, before you leave the hotel, plug in all the places that you want to go to. And the beautiful thing is, even if you didn't plug in a particular place, if it's in the vicinity, or even if it's not in the vicinity, when you magnify it, when you use your fingers and pull it and magnify the map, it further shows you other places, and you can go down other streets and you'll still be able to go right to where you're going. Even if you make a detour, say you're walking down the street that Google Maps told you to walk down, and you see something really cool, you're like, ooh, what's that over there? And you decide to make a little detour, it's okay, because you know where you are on the map, you know the direction you're going in. I'm not saying that you can't go to places and ask for directions, but understand that when a person is a native to a place and they're giving directions versus you who has never been here before, even if they're telling you turn left at this place, turn right at this place, if you even mix that up one time and you turn right when you're supposed to turn left, the last thing you want to do is look lost, especially when you're by yourself, especially in neighborhoods that you're not familiar with, because I'm not saying things are going to happen, but if you're already like scared and whatever, you know, all you're going to be thinking about is, oh my gosh, I'm lost, da, 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 da. You don't need to, I don't want you to stress and worry like that, and you really don't need to. Please, 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 please. Know where you're going before you leave your hotel. Plug them into your phone. Make sure your phone is charged, whatever, and you're good to go. Worst case scenario, if you're at a place and, I don't know, let's say your phone dies. It should not, because you should have fully charged it the night before, but let's just say your phone dies and you're not really sure exactly where you're at. Go into, I would prefer to go into a restaurant or something like that. Ask like a server or a bartender. Ask someone in the restaurant. Ask someone in a store for directions, as opposed to just a random person on the street. The reason why I say that is because you don't really know who you're talking to on the street. One, you could be bumping into other tourists, right? Two, you don't know people. I trust people, but at the same time, I'm street smart. So I would rather go into a store and ask for directions from a person who's just working their job or whatever. They know the area well. They'll give you suggestions and tips. They're usually very, very helpful. And yeah, so do that. And very worst case scenario, okay? If you feel flustered, lost, you're not really sure where you're at, don't stand outside, just don't do that. Go into some store or something, get your bearings, breathe, ask for help, like I said, and then head back out again. Worst case scenario, backtrack the way you came from versus trying to continue on. And tip number 2, it's pretty common sense in my eyes, but I understand that when you're traveling alone sometimes, or if you're used to traveling with others, maybe sometimes you don't think about these things, but it's really important to make sure that you do not carry all your money on you all at the same time, all in the same place. So what I do every day is I decide, okay, usually when I leave my hotel or wherever I'm staying at, I don't come back till night. So I leave in the morning and I'm not back till night anyway. So I make sure I have the amount of money that I need for food, whatever attractions, things like that. And of course, just in case, I'll also bring my ID, which is usually my driver's license. I don't walk around with my passport. This could be a side tip. Make sure, and you should be doing this anyways, you should have a photocopy. I just photocopy my passport, driver's license, any immunization things I need depending on which country I'm going to. And I photocopied onto one sheet from home, and I fold that up and I bring that along with me. I haven't had any issues in terms of getting into places where you need ID, like a bar or whatever. I use my driver's license. I know casinos, for example, even here, they'll ask you for your passport. They don't take the driver's license. So that's something that you can think about. But have your photocopy of all of your IDs. So if you are walking around with your passport and you lose it, you have the photocopy. Now, you should be doing this regardless, but you definitely want to do this when you're traveling alone. There's already so many things that you could be thinking of and reasons why you shouldn't go. The last thing you want is to have to worry about, okay, you lose your passport, now you don't remember your number, you don't know where to go, you don't know how to find it, blah, blah, blah. At least you have the photocopy peace of mind to know that if you were to lose it, you have what you need to report it stolen, lost, whatever, get it found, get it sorted out. So that would be my second tip, or my side tip for my second tip. So in terms of carrying cash, I know how much money I need for the day. I kind of ball, I know it from even before I leave Toronto to come to any country. I have an average, I do the research about how much would it cost to have breakfast, lunch, average cost of dinner, things like that. I know the price of the attraction before I go. I know these things ahead of time, so it's one less thing to think about when I get there. And that's how much money, maybe give or take a little bit, that I bring as cash. Now, here's my secret, and it might be weird or whatever. So I have my pouch, and I recommend ladies to carry something like this. Fanny pack, as they call it, because it has multiple compartments, and this one is right up against you. You don't have to worry about anyone going in there and taking your stuff. You keep your money, your ID, the really important things there, and then of course in here I keep like my camera, lip gloss, things like that, lotion, whatever, in the front pockets, because I don't really care about that too much. This pocket, if anyone were to open it, I would feel that immediately. These pockets, even if someone were to open it and I didn't feel it, I wouldn't care, because again, like I said, it's just lip gloss and paper and maybe gum or something like that in there. The money and the important stuff stays at the back. The reason why I say bring something like this versus a purse, and again, this is totally up to you. I see a lot of girls walking around with like the crossbodies, and if you're wearing across your body, I feel more comfortable with that. But I see some people just wearing it on one shoulder. Like anyone can easily just snatch that and run off. And when you're with other people, you may not really think about it as much, but I guarantee you when you're by yourself, you're thinking about these things a lot more. So give yourself peace of mind. And instead of having to worry about that, you can take in all the beautiful scenery of the place that you're at. Get yourself like a pouch, and I can wear it around my waist. I wear it as a crossbody as well because it adjusts. So I will have some cash in the part that I said is close to my body, but I go old school, guys. I take probably the bulk, the bigger bills, like the smaller bills, the 5s, the 1s, the 10s, I'll keep them in here. But the bigger bills, 20s, 50s, I don't usually walk around with 50s and $100 bills when I'm on vacation. The biggest bills I walk around with are 20s, but to each his own. Those 20s, I fold them up and I tuck them at the side of my bra. I don't use my pockets on any of my clothes. I don't do that. I don't put stuff in my pockets in my jeans, nothing like that. If it's not in the pouch, it's right here. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, you know what, worst case scenario, if someone's like, hey, give me your purse or whatever. Yes, am I pissed that they're gonna get away with whatever is in my bag and my leather pouch? Yes, because I'm not about to risk my life for this. Give them what they ask for. But at least, right? At least now you have some cash in case you need to, I don't know, get around. I don't know where you might be, but at least you have some cash. Or if they ask you for your money, they might not even ask you for the whole bag. They might just say, give me your money or whatever. You just take it out and they're like, see, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. You still got some money there. I know some people will go even further and put some in their shoe. They'll put them in all places, but I usually just put the bulk of it here, and then I leave the smaller stuff and the quarters and the change in here. So that's my tip in regards to money. Leave most of your money at the hotel in the safe. Don't carry all of your money with you. Carry a credit card and some cash for the day and leave it at that. I don't even walk around with a lot of cash when I'm at home, so why would you walk around with a lot of cash when you're on vacation? Especially by yourself. Tip number 3. Trust your intuition, ladies. And if there's any gentlemen watching this, trust your gut, okay? Let me tell you something. Your gut, if you get a feeling, if you're just not comfortable, if you're just not sure, trust it, okay? This is your trip, this is your vacation. One of the beautiful things about traveling alone is that you don't have to think about anybody else's feelings but yours. You have to worry if the person you came with wants to do that or if they don't want to do that. You don't have to worry about if they want to leave or if they don't want to leave. You don't have to worry about doing what the group wants to do. You get to do exactly what you want to do when you want to do it. And it goes both ways. So if you don't want to do something, then don't. If you're out on the street and you're walking down a road and you just don't feel comfortable, turn. Go on to another street. When I first got to New Orleans, later on in the evening, I went down to Frenchman Street and I was coming back later in the night. And I was walking in, the French market is quite busy, but there are certain streets that are like really, really busy, like Bourbon, of course. And there's some side streets that are really busy as well. Now my hotel, you can get to it from many different streets. And again, that's why it's good to have your phone with your stuff, because even if you're walking down a street and you don't feel comfortable, you can turn off and Google Maps will tell you exactly where you are and how to just recalibrate so that you're continuing on to where you need to be going. So I'm walking down this one street and it was all good. And then I was initially, as I got to the intersection, I was initially going to turn left down another street, a more quieter street. But when I looked down the street, it just looked really quiet. It was dark and I didn't feel comfortable. So I didn't turn down the street, even though the map was telling me to go that way. I knew from what I saw on the map, there were more streets that I could turn off at. And even if it meant going a little higher up from my hotel, turning and then coming back, I don't care. I will do that for my safety and for my peace of mind. So I continued walking and then I looked left again and that street seemed more vibrant and I turned down that street. So trust your gut, trust your intuition. If you're out and about, just trust your gut. Like that's the biggest thing I can say, like really trust your gut. And there's a lot of tips that kind of stem off of this. There's just certain things that are common sense in general, but ladies, don't be afraid to go out at night. Last night I went out, I went to this nice little jazz bar, I had a drink, I sat down, I listened to some live music, it was great. But I was cognizant of a lot of different things. I made sure that when my bartender made my drink, I took my drink. No one else had access to my drink except for the bartender and me. Don't take drinks from people. Like, oh, let me buy you a drink or whatever, unless you are physically right there as the bartender is making this drink and they pass it to you. Don't put yourself in that position. Don't do it. I don't care how nice, how friendly they seem. That's just common sense. Don't do that. And yeah, I had a great time. And afterwards I left there and there was some more street parades and things going on and I kind of just chilled out and whatever. The other like little side tip from the whole trusting your gut is a lot of times when I travel by myself, I think people are surprised that I'm traveling alone. When I go to restaurants, when I'm just walking on the street, when I stop, like whatever, they're like, oh, da, da, da. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just here on my own. I'm not afraid to tell people I'm here on my own, but there's a limit to that. Like, I'm not going to go into details about like where I'm staying and when I'm leaving and no, none of that. If I know it's a one-off person that I'm just literally passing by and they're like, or in the tours that I go to, people are like, oh, you're here by yourself, because I'm clearly in the tour by myself. I'd be like, yeah, but I've never had any issues with it. Be confident. Be confident in the fact that you're traveling alone. Don't make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm alone and I'm scared. No, you're on your own and you're having a blast and it's amazing and you do this all the time. You're a pro at this. A lot of people ask me questions and I don't have a problem answering certain things. Like even last night, one of the big ones people ask you is where are you from? And I tell them I'm from Toronto. During the night when I was watching the street parade or whatever, there's a gentleman standing right beside me because he was watching it as well. Older gentleman, he was probably in like his late 40s, early 50s or something. But I could tell that he had drank a lot. I could tell. And he was just like jamming to the music and he turned to me, he's like, oh man, New Orleans has the best music. And I'm like, yeah, for real. But I don't want to engage in much conversation with anybody really. Maybe it's just the antisocial in me, I don't know. But I don't really want to open that up because I know that I'm naturally a very friendly person and people will get the wrong idea. So when he was talking to me, I acknowledged him, I smiled, and I say, yeah, it's really good. But I put my face right back to what I was looking at and completely ignored him. So be polite, yeah, and go right back to what you're doing. It doesn't send off the impression of you being rude, but at the same time, it doesn't give off the impression that you're open to whatever they may be open to, like maybe continuing the conversation or whatever. But anyways, we're there still, whatever, and he turns around to me maybe, I don't know, 3 minutes later, and he's like, oh man, it's so good. And I look at him like, yep, yes. And I look right back, and I'm paying attention to that. And then at one point, he decided, he saw the other people going out in front of the band, and they were gonna dance, and he was like, oh, come on, let's go. And I was like, no, I'm okay, thanks though. And I didn't even like engage with him anymore. I just kept looking straight, and he's like, okay, and he just walks off. Know that sometimes if you are a friendly person, you may have to downplay it a little bit in certain situations, just because if you're naturally friendly, people are going to gravitate towards that, and they're going to want to engage with you. And especially if they see that no one else is around you, people just, it's, how would I say, it's like, it's just this thing. People gravitate to people that are by themselves because they feel like they have to like they need to be with someone. They can't be by themselves. They need to be interacting with other people. They need to be with another person. So if it means they need to be that person, then they'll do that, when in reality that person is perfectly fine being by themselves. It's the other person that just can't comprehend the fact that you are traveling by yourself or you're alone right now. So they think, oh no, you're alone, she's lonely. I'm not sure if that's what they think, but anyway, I downplay my friendliness a lot. My standing bitch face kind of helps that when I'm walking down the street too. So people may look, people may say hi, they may give me a compliment, or they may do whatever, but it really doesn't go past that, and I'm okay with that. So be confident in the fact that you're traveling alone. Don't look like this scared little puppy dog that's never traveled by yourself, even if it's the first time. Be confident, walk with confidence, and yeah, you'll be all right. Yeah, I don't even know what number I'm at anymore, but I'm just throwing out some more tips. One really big tip I need to give you, ladies, and seriously, stop thinking that everyone's out to hurt you, okay? If you believe in the law of attraction, you believe in thoughts become things, the energy you're putting out there is the energy you're bringing back in. And I'm not saying sometimes you won't get some crazies, you will, but if you just constantly put out this energy like, oh, you go to a city or whatever, people are gonna hurt you, or you're gonna get robbed or whatever, like, it's so weird to me, and so, like, it's so outside of how I think anyways when I'm even out on my own, in my own city or whatever. But when I'm traveling by myself and I hear people talk about all the things that could go wrong, and they're in a group talking to other people about this, like the boat that I went on, the boat cruise that I went on, the group that was in line in front of me, there was a man literally just going on and on about all the things that they shouldn't do and how they got to be careful. And I'm like, oh my gosh, be quiet. They just want to enjoy their time. There's like 5 of you. I think you guys are gonna be okay. And I'm little old me just standing here by myself thinking, oh, and he's just going on about don't let people like stand too close to you, and because they'll bump into you and then they'll steal it, they'll pick stuff out of your pocket. I'm like, but don't put anything in your pocket. Like, why are you putting anything in your pocket in the first place? It's just things like that. But stop with the negativity. Stop thinking that you're gonna go out on your own and like the world is just gonna be like, urgh. Like, it's not. People are not thinking about you the way you think they are. I've said this in a live I did the other day. I'm like, people don't think about you like that. They don't. So be cautious. I'm not saying don't be cautious. Be cautious. Be street smart. But have fun. Have a good time. You are on vacation. You're exploring the world. Like, enjoy it. Don't spend your entire trip worrying or thinking that something bad could happen. Don't do that to yourself. Enjoy yourself. I I have such a great time when I'm on my own because, like I said, I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it. Like after I finish filming this, I'm gonna go down the street and I'm gonna go buy me some seafood boil, some Louisiana style seafood boil, and I'm going to eat it all. So there are a lot of other tips. I'm not saying that these are the only tips. There's tons, but if I were to tell you like the biggest things, be smart, street smart, be aware, use your intuition, walk with confidence, know where you're going before you leave the hotel or your Airbnb or wherever you're staying. Don't keep too much cash on you. Yeah, and just be aware of your surroundings. Don't feel afraid. This day and age, I know there's a lot of things going on and it may deter you from traveling alone, but be street smart, be aware. I always tell people the things that you wouldn't do in your own city, don't do it here. Don't do it when you're traveling alone. And have a good time, enjoy yourselves. I would love if you commented below and tell me, where are you gonna go for your next solo trip? I hope you guys will do one soon. If you have any questions, go ahead, comment, reach out to me. I'll leave my social media information. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel because I do have more travel videos, lots more business and entrepreneurship type videos and motivation lifestyle videos as well. So hit the notification bell so you won't miss those. And bon voyage, happy holidays, and have a great time just exploring the world by yourself. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it and you're gonna wish you had started sooner. Have a good one.